enjoyed the food.
Honestly speaking, fantabulous.
I suggest you should be having this kind of gathering.
I'm telling you, every Saturday.
Wait, Anu.
Wait.
Please get sanitizer. Sanitize this place.
No, give her water first. Please let her take water.
We are all right. Sorry. Anu, are you all right? Is everything?
Coronavirus is everywhere. You say, well, you're asking why we're scared.
Come on, I'm fine.
Let me educate you all on something.
Okay, let's
You see, one thing that baffles me about coronavirus is that once you contract it, is the ultimate death penalty.
I don't wonder if this isn't God's way of ending us. Lord have mercy.
Preacher.
That is actually erroneous, babe. Sorry. Coronavirus is not a death sentence. People have recovered from it.
I wonder also.
It's just get treated early.
My friend, this is joking.
My own suggestion, maybe me and friend should go for a test.
Yeah, come on, I'm fine. This one is serious.
See me, I will see you. I think I have to. Please, I need to use the restroom, please.
Babe, I have been talking to you all through the drive home. You've been quiet. What is wrong?
I should ask you that. I mean, how can you claim to love me and turn me to an object of public ridicule right in the presence of my friends, the whole world?
What? Ridicule? How?
Did you have to correct me publicly? You should have just kept quiet. You corrected me publicly. You made me look like a fool.
But babe, what you said was erroneous.
Oh God! You want erroneous? Keep quiet! Mr. English, I told you stop correcting me publicly!
What is wrong with correcting you? You are my wife and I can't see you go wrong. I have to say something.
Okay. You're trying to tell me that if you saw me fighting outside, you will not defend me. You would rather correct me publicly, Mr. English? You would correct me publicly, Mr. Right? You will correct me publicly. Please just keep quiet and stop making me look like a fool, please. I'm your wife, for God's sake. Act it.
Is it wrong to correct my wife publicly?
Good day. Welcome again to Affectionate Ties. Like we normally like starting this, but we want to put an introduction to how we are going to be addressing the situations that the stories that we said today. I know you have seen the stories already. I want us to put an introduction to it. So number one thing you need to understand of the background to every issue is the word I do. When we get married, we talk to ourselves and we say I do. I do means that in situations in life, we need to come to that, ask ourselves I do in agreeing on our decisions and how we are going. Number two will be the fact that everybody, every story has a background and an history to it. And until you understand the background and the history, you may not be able to get the right perspective in that particular situation. Number three,
people have the reason why they act the way they do, and we need to respect that first before we move forward on any issue. Then talking about number four as well is, which I like so much, is you must be careful not to win the battle and lose the war.
Yeah.
What do I mean by that? You must be careful not to win an argument and lose your spouse. Your spouse is more important than the argument. So that sometimes we just have to back down because of the other person involved. Then
the story.
Okay.
So the story, she'll say the story and let's talk about the story.
The story is about a scenario where an husband corrected the wife in public, and in correcting her again in public, keep using the word erroneous. The wife feels bad and is asking the question, why are you correcting me in public? And the husband is saying, is it wrong for me to correct you in public? That's the background story we have before us today.
So let's first of all look at the different sides. So the wife feels coronavirus is a death sentence, and the husband said, taking an erroneous statement, and him and his friends are laughing. So let me look at perspectives. Now let me talk about the background. First of all, you need to understand is that the wife's perspective about coronavirus, maybe what she has read, what she has listened to, her exposure and her bias. You know, when coronavirus first came up, people didn't know, there was a lot of uncertainty. So people may come up, I don't come with the bias, this one, that one. It was all over. Now it could be that on the part of the wife when it comes to that issue. The second thing is the fact of communication. How well do you both talk and communicate? Communication can be both verbal and non-verbal. How do you communicate? The way you talk about things in private. Private communication is very important.
Then another thing the wife was sensitive to was the use of words erroneous. One of the things we must learn to do is actually be able to decipher between the way we talk to our friends and the way we talk to our spouse. That one is key. We're still going to talk about that further when we are profiling. So
the third background you need to know the wrong use of words. When your words are used, the kind of words guys use. Now, for example, the way guys talk and say take things. Women may not like it. You can't talk the way you talk to guys, talk to guys and the way you talk to your wife. The rule and the difference in the perspective and the personalities are different. Number 4 is when it looks like one party, the background is when you have a relationship where there's always one party that is always right. And I have some of those relationships that when party wants to be right, maybe it's used to winning an argument and all that, we wants to be right. Then finally is the fact, and it's very important, the discussion could have been, the context the discussion was the conversation was heard. Let's say it was in a business meeting where you're trying to print a perfect picture or you want to win a contract or something. You are trying to do that. So the context, what made some things happen, you must understand also from the man's perspective. So he was talking to his friends, he just was, the way he related to his friend was related to the wife. Or the context was a business meeting, or it was with your friends, or it was a dinner or something, and it was with the important scenario. So those also could be the background that may have necessitated some things that were said. Now, I said some things that were said, but it doesn't mean that it is right or it is wrong. So let's talk about the solution.
In answering the question now, it's not the husband is not asking the question, is it right? Is it wrong for me to actually correct my wife in public? The answer is a yes and a no answer, and we'll talk about that further.
So the first thing is communication. How do you both communicate with one another? How do you communicate how you feel and how you want both of you to address issues in public? One of the major things we've all said is expectations. We met expectations. One of the few things both have to talk about is what our expectation in communication outside. You must know your wife's and your husband's expectation in communicating. That's number 1.
Which leads me to the second point of the use of words. She keeps initially the husband used the word erroneous in public, and by the time they were arguing about it at home, she keeps saying, why the use of the word erroneous? That word might make her look stupid. That word she might interpret the word as if you don't think, you don't even have anything up there. You must be careful the use of words, and these are things that must be addressed in our communication with one another. We must listen to what the other person is saying in communication
and respect it.
Communication should be two-way. The person must receive the information the way that you have communicated it. So when we are communicating, we must listen to what the other person is saying. So it's not just why are you using the words, it's the mere fact that how those words you say make me feel. And when you use this word, it embarrasses me in public. You must be mindful of that in communicating.
Now, the second thing is what we're talking about communication. The second thing is growing together intellectually. I discovered also the fact that when we get married or in a relationship, we need to grow together. We need to have what I call intellectual intimacy. Why the other person thinks and understands things the way you also think and understand them. So the case here is that maybe you've not had that conversation. The conversations we have when we get outside, when you feel the other party is not as enlightened about an issue the way you are. Now, my own question is, should you feel the person up, or should you bring the person up to your level where they grow with you and they can converse at your level when you go out? Now, so it's not going to be, you are saying those big English and she's thinking, what are you talking about? This is what I know. And so those ones for them, both of you must go together intellectually.
Okay, going to the next point, which will be, I think, point number 4 now, is the context in which we are talking about. We said earlier, fine, this context was a scenario of where you were in the midst of friends, or it could be in a business meeting, it could be in a business dinner. You must use correction. That's why I said it's a yes and a no answer. You must use correction as a support in some other scenarios. So, but before you get to using correction as a support, you must have communicated, you must have been mindful about the use of words. So you get to a point that maybe you're in a business meeting, so you have grown intellectually together. There's intellectual intimacy between you. So by the time you get to some areas, when your husband wants to it doesn't sound like a correction, but it sounds as a support in trying to actually redirect the conversation in such a way that the wife does not feel bad that he's saying something that is
another thing I discovered also about that is this. You can have divergent views, but because the support is strong, you make the perspective broader. So the wife said that when I said, wow, my wife's perspective about it is the island perspective. But we have a lowland perspective. The land perspective is that some people, before they didn't know it, but they did not. But you have accepted your wife's perspective before bringing your own perspective in. It only comes when you understand the context, you want to bring it out, and you have intellectual intimacy where both parties could flow in between one another, and they could bring a broader perspective. So we realize we are thinking on two different scapes, and that works for us. So the other one is okay, so talk about talking about it. Then use of words and when you're around response of friends. So it's also important that you learn the use of words to use. When we are around guys, there is a way guys talk. So I once had an issue where the husband and the wife were talking, and the husband, she says that you don't have a point, and I asked the husband, why did you say to your wife when you are talking at home, you don't have a point? He said, that's how I talk to my friends. And I said, no, you are not talking to your friend, you are talking to your wife. So even if she doesn't have a point, there is a way to talk to your wife that is different from the way you talk to your friends. So there's perspectives. So in relationships, you must be careful about that, what the way the other person feels. There's a saying that says that people might forget what you say, but they will never forget the way you make them feel. It's very important. And now we are talking about a scenario where it is between spouse now. Be careful the way you make your spouse feel, whether your spouse is the husband or the wife, the way you make them feel privately and publicly. It's very important. Now, I hope we have addressed your concerns on it about this, the story. So this is what we'll say. If you have addressed all these issues and it still doesn't seem to be going away, you might need to see someone that both of you trust and talk to them about it. In marriage, there will always be those differences, or in relationships, and you need to learn to walk through it and get it out and get it better. So thank you for listening to us, to watching us today. I know you've enjoyed yourself and had a wonderful time.